At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday morning on Coffee with Krueger. It is, September 12th. And we are getting, mid into September. I was talking to someone earlier this week, and I think it was yesterday, and we were talking, says, yeah, we'll talk about that in October. And I thought, boy, we got several months to go. And I'm like, what? Wait a second. No, that's like less than a month away. I mean, how fast has this year gone? It's just absolutely insane. They always say as you get older, time goes by faster. I mean, you remember as a child, summer vacations felt like an eternity. Now it's like summer vacation feels like a day, and then you're back to work or school or whatever it is, right? So, yeah, it's crazy. We're getting into the cooler months too, and we're beginning to feel that. So let's get you right to Krueger's Quickcast. This is just a quick look at the forecast so you know what to expect today, and really just another quick look at the 7-day forecast as well. Now, before we get to the forecast, I want to talk about the rain that we saw yesterday. It was pretty good in some areas here. 6,100ths out at Klamath, 3,800ths in Crescent City. Look at Alturas, 3,500ths of an inch of rainfall. Now, I think the forecast models did a pretty darn good job predicting this rain. As expected, most of the rain was on the north end of NorCal. Del Norte County, Siskiyou County, and in particular, I was expecting most of the activity to be in Modoc County. And look at Alturas, 3,500ths of an inch of rainfall. That's where we saw most of the lightning strikes yesterday and thunderstorms, right? But overall, it's just definitely interesting to see that, yeah, most of that rain was there. Didn't see much in the way. Trace amounts, most likely in parts of Trinity County. Did actually see some sprinkles in the Redding area. I had to step outside for a second midday, and yeah, it was just a little bit of sprinkle activity out there in the Redding area and the surrounding areas of Redding as well. But then you head down to the southeast, mostly Lassen County, Plumas County. It was dry. Again, pretty much as expected. All right, so you're heading out the door this morning. Still a bit mild in Redding at 66 degrees. I don't know. I'd have to double check that temperature. That doesn't seem right because it is nice out there. Let's see here. I'm just going to take a quick look at the current conditions here in Redding just so I can double check it. Sometimes, you can kind of get some false data coming on. Well, you know what? I take that back. I don't know why I should be surprised by that because, yeah, the winds are still blowing a little bit in some areas around Redding, and that's going to keep those temperatures up. But still a nice chill in the air this morning. 58 degrees for Red Bluff, 61 in Chico, 30s. Yeah, 30s for some of the higher elevations. 38 degrees for Bernie, 36 in Chester. And we've got 46 degrees in Alturas and low 50s along the coast. Look at the visibility out there this morning and, down to zero visibility in Eureka. There's Crescent City at about 7-mile visibility. Take a look at the cameras out there this morning. It was a little wet yesterday at this time. Now we're just seeing some of those low clouds, a little bit of fog out there in some areas here. But overall, it's a dry start to the day and things are clearing out. You saw the 7-mile visibility out in Crescent City, but boy, you got those clear skies out there this morning. That is absolutely gorgeous. We've been looking at a lot of the low clouds and fog through a good portion of the week, and it's nice, especially after the rain, to see things clear out, turning out to be a gorgeous start to the day out in Crescent City. Now, as you head to the south, looks like there is a little bit more in the way of fog, especially as you head into parts of Humboldt County. And I do think that even though we will see some clearing in some areas around the coast through the day today, I do anticipate that we are going to be looking at probably more clearing, especially in Del Norte County. Out the door this morning, well, sunny skies, temperatures low 60s, even some 50s in there for some of the valley. Temperatures mainly in the 40s, 8 o'clock this morning for the mountains and low to mid 50s for the coast. Starting off with some fog in some areas, as I mentioned, mainly in Humboldt County. But there are going to be some places that will certainly see more of that. Temperatures dropping down into the low to mid 50s for the coast. All right, here's a look at Futurecast. So by noon, look at that. I mean, even Humboldt County will most likely see clearing. Now, there are going to be some areas where some of the low clouds will kind of just linger in the area, especially out towards the Eureka area, southward into the Ferndale area. But then we go later on in the afternoon and evening, those clouds return. But you'll notice Del Norte County most likely still seeing those clear skies here for today. Taking a look at your forecast for today, it's going to be a tad warmer than it was yesterday. We saw low to mid 80s in the valley, more like the mid to upper 80s. So just by about 3 or 4 degrees from yesterday. Temperatures mainly in the 70s for the mountains today, but Trinity County low 80s for some of you, although Ruth about 77, Lassen Park about 60, mid 60s for the coast. Quick look at your 7-day outlook for the valley to start off with. Temperatures are going up over the next few days, and then we see temperatures dropping down. Now, there is a lot to unpack with the 7-day forecast, and I'm not going to unpack it during Krueger's Quick Cast. That's a bit of a teaser to kind of give you more detail on what's happening for next week. Bottom line, next week is going to be much cooler and more unsettled. Now, what exactly that means, again, we'll talk about that in more detail as we take a look at your deeper dive forecast, but that's the case for all of NorCal. Even the coast will see those cooler temperatures for next week. Not by much. It won't be as dramatic, but a much more dramatic drop under temperatures for pretty much everyone else in the mountains, the valley, inland, the works, right? Let's get you into the fire outlook now. And you can see the Boise fire latest coming in at 91% containment. These numbers, they're just not changing much. We take you out to the Park fire, still the same as yesterday at 99% containment. We take a look at the Bear fire, still the same as yesterday at 83%. So these fires are obviously fires that are off in the background. They're doing their thing. Firefighters are working hard. We can't forget about that. But really, it's just kind of in the back of our minds. It's not kind of the front of the minds and terrible concerns with those fires. Take a look at the fire potential out there. The areas in orange are basically the winds. So we are going to see some gusty winds out there, and that's going to elevate the fire weather risk for today, especially in the valley. You can still see a little breezy in some spots here this morning there with the areas in green. But then we go into the afternoon, 9 o'clock this morning, especially the west side of the valley, seeing some gusts over 20, 25 miles per hour. Now they subside a little bit later this afternoon and evening, but still breezy, borderline windy, even as we go into the afternoon and evening. So let's take a look at the humidity levels. They were between 20 and 30, 35%, somewhere in that range yesterday. They're lowering, but they're still in the teens for most of us. So at least we have that, but it's drying out. So with the winds, warmer temperatures, lower humidity, we got the elevated fire risk. We need to just be aware of that. Take a look at Lake Oroville's camera this morning. Looks like a beautiful sunrise there. We take a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. That glass lake indicating that we're not seeing much in the way of winds out there. Taking a look at, oh boy, this camera's been a little shaky for me, at least in my weather computer system, so we're not going to be getting those updated images there. But we should be looking at the images from Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive in Reading. Looks like there's some traffic out there this morning. And of course, looks like it's going to be just another beautiful day in store for us, just a little bit warmer. All right, today is Thursday. We have got our NorCal Ag Report, and my buddy Jerry O'Lennon did a report and talked to a couple of experts about composting. Yes, composting. Definitely an interesting topic, and Jerry's going to get more information about it for you.
Hi there, I'm Jerry O'Lennon for Weather NorCal, and this is the Ag Report sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. Today, we're going to discuss how you can turn food scraps into something valuable. Tell me about the compost. Why is it important to do this?
So we are really trying to teach the community to begin the habit of composting. So there's a new law in California. It's called SB 1383. And with that law, it's being implemented that community members will have to separate their food scraps from their garbage to reduce greenhouse gases and methane emissions from the landfills.
So this is something that people should get used to because it might be mandated.
Absolutely, it is mandated. Chico is behind as far as implementing it, but we are trying to create these programs to where we can actually put the food scraps to use and make compost here like healthy living compost that can be used by community members, where they can, make their own gardens. And
Explain that. What is compost used for? How could it be used for something good?
So compost is it's a great source to re-nourish soil. So, most people who have yards, they'll have dirt on their property, and oftentimes that dirt is it doesn't have the microbiomes that can be good for, that can help promote plant growth, So the compost that we make is perfect for that. It will help. You don't have to use much to add to the soil that you already have on your property, and it will help re-nourish the soil.
Why do you do this?
Because I want to help the environment. I want to reduce methane gas in landfill. And
More people ought to do this, huh?
yes.
With these programs set in place, we make a really good end product that can be used, and we give it away. So for those who contribute to this program, if they come and bring food scraps every week, they can go to our site and get the end result, get the finished compost to use in their own gardens. Please come every Wednesday. We are here. We accept all kinds of food scraps. We do have a list of things that we don't accept just because our site is not, it won't cater to all food scraps, but vegetable ends, like fruit ends, peels, rinds, stuff like that we can take, and we can process it and turn it to usable compost.
And that'll do it for this edition of the Ag Report. For Weather NorCal, I'm Jerry O'Lennon.
Once again, I want to thank Lassen County Nursery for their support and their sponsorship of NorCal Ag. Thanks to them, you can get these great reports of all the agriculture going around in our area. And as you know, we got a very active ag community for all of NorCal. By the way, if you have any ideas for NorCal Ag reports, be sure to contact me at mkrueger@weathernorcal.com, or you can just go to the contact section on weathernorcal.com and go there. You can also contact Jerry to get some information for him as well if you're out into the Butte County area as well. So once again, want to thank Lassen County Nursery for their support of Weather NorCal, and in particular, the NorCal Ag Report. All right, so we got a couple people checking in this morning. We've got Rowdy Kelly saying, how heavy low marine layer in Arcata this morning. So yeah, it looks like you are seeing some of that fog out toward, and I appreciate those reports because I'm getting the reports coming in from the observations such as the fog and the visibility. So it's always nice to get those confirmed reports from me. So thank you, Rowdy, for sending in that information. And we've also got Allie Dunn saying, good morning. Good morning to you. And I'm sure you're saying good morning to everyone as well. We've got Krista at 65 at your house in Reading, so that's kind of in line with what they've got at the Reading Airport at 66 degrees. Tracy Sackett, one of our regulars here, is saying good morning with her cup of coffee, and we've got Lisa Stevens. Lisa, you're typically the first to chime in the morning, so I certainly appreciate your dedication to watching the show every morning. I appreciate all of you. Well, let's get to the forecast, shall we? Get the deeper dive forecast. We were talking about the cooler and unsettled weather pattern that'll be moving in, but before we get to that, we need to mention our sponsor. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's go and get to not the current temperatures right now. I want to show you these rain totals. And you may recall over the last 24 hours, the projections coming in from Futurecast. I got to tell you, I think Futurecast did a phenomenal job with kind of predicting where most of the rain is going to be. And that footprint looked pretty darn good to what we were talking about yesterday. Mainly to the north for all of the northern counties, Del Norte, Siskiyou, and Modoc counties, right? Seeing that rain. And then kind of the footprint goes down into Humboldt County. And not to mention even out towards parts of Trinity County as well. However, as you start heading even eastward into Trinity County, you're just not seeing much rain. It didn't see much rain. There were some trace amounts, I think, in some areas. I didn't really see anything measurable as I looked at all of the different rain gauges out there. You can see in Alturas, 3,500 inches of rainfall. Some areas around the Alturas area may have seen more than that in parts of Modoc County, that's where we saw the bulk of the thunderstorm activity. Once again, as projected by Futurecast, I think it did a pretty good job with that. There were a few showers out towards Siskiyou County, but most of the thunderstorms were in eastern Siskiyou County, and as I mentioned, in Modoc County. There was also some rainfall through a good portion of the day for parts of Delnor County, starting in the morning and lasting through at least the late morning to even early afternoon hours, and as a result, over a half of an inch in some spots here for Delnor County. You head to the south, not nearly as much. There were a few spots down to southern Humboldt County that didn't quite see that measurable rainfall, but it was still a little wet down even in southern Humboldt County. The valley was fairly dry. However, some of you may have experienced or did experience yesterday a sprinkle passing light shower in the Redding area and the surrounding area around that as well. Didn't amount to much, didn't last for very long. It was kind of those, kind of got overcast and then it kind of cleared out pretty quickly after that. But you can see here, just not much going on that we saw with that. So kind of interesting seeing some of these rainfall totals. It was certainly a welcome sight. Temperatures right now, the wind's blowing a little bit in Redding. We're at 66 degrees. Cooler though, heading to the south, those calmer winds at 61 for Chico, 60 in Oroville. We're at upper 30s in Bernie at 38 degrees, 36 for Chester. And we've got those low 50s right now for the coast. And some of that fog for places in especially Humboldt County, but much more in the way of clear skies for Crescent City. So a slight warming trend going into the weekend. So starting today, you'll notice temperatures are increasing a little bit here, but it's nothing major. We're still going to be below normal. Now the temperatures will be going on a bit of a roller coaster ride. Temperatures are kind of going up the next several days, then back down, and then maybe back up toward the end of next week. Bigger temperature drop for early next week. You think about what we saw yesterday. Temperatures dropped. It was very nice. It was very pleasant. Low to mid 80s in the valley. I think we're going to be talking about mid to upper 70s in the valley. Yeah, mid to upper 70s. You heard me right. For early next week, possibly even as early as Sunday. But I think Sunday is going to be that transition day. And then cooler and unsettled for next week. Now, what does that mean? First of all, cooler and unsettled, this is a phrase that is usually reserved for the winter months, right? And that's when I say cool and unsettled, you see that you've got that cooler air in place. And you see that mix of sun and clouds, those puffy cumulus clouds kind of taking over the skies, but you have some breaks in there. And every once in a while, it may get a little bit more overcast. You'll see some showers. And that's what I'm expecting here for especially Sunday evening through at least the middle of next week. So that's kind of what's going on there. All right, let's talk about fire danger, fire weather risk. So before we get to the rain, the cool and unsettled weather, we've got to talk about the winds and the lower humidity out there. All right, because it's already still a little breezy out there still this morning. And we look at the fire potential here, the areas in orange is where you have the highest potential for some of those strongest winds. Now, I'll be honest, I think I might be overdoing it for the east of the valley. Most of the winds, I think, today will be in the valley. So let's take a look at what the forecast is expected. Here's through the day. So really through the day, I expect the winds to start to subside, but you're still over 20 miles per hour, 15, 20, 25 miles per hour for parts of the valley. So still pretty gusty out there at times. I don't think it'll be as bad as yesterday. If you were out and about yesterday, late afternoon, evening, you may have noticed those winds. It probably won't be as bad same time tomorrow, but still pretty breezy out there. But look at the east, much better with those winds. Okay, now we take you into your Friday. Friday morning, still some winds gusting out there, a little over 20 miles per hour, I think in some spots here. They died down though by Friday afternoon. But look at the coast, still pretty gusty out there. Now as we go into Saturday, we got the approaching storm system. Now it's not going to be here on Saturday, but as the storm system approaches, our winds will start to increase starting on Saturday and probably be even stronger for your Sunday. So we're talking about the winds and how they're going to be strong in the valley. We were in the 20 to even over 30% range yesterday with our humidity, so that was great. Humidity levels have dropped. We're getting dry again. So with those winds picking up, with the humidity dropping, and the temperatures increasing, I'd say we've got some elevated fire risk here, especially for the valley. Now as we go into Friday, humidity levels are dropping, but the good news is the winds Friday afternoon won't be that bad, and they'll be coming more from the south. And then it looks like the humidity levels are increasing on Saturday as the temperatures do start to drop. So there's the fire weather risk. 5 p.m. There you can kind of see with those north winds, kind of in that moderate to even getting close to that high category. We go into your Friday, the conditions are getting better. We're not seeing any orange on the map, and that's the key here. But even on Saturday, we're still seeing a lot of yellow on the map here, indicating at least that moderate risk. So we just need to be careful. It's just that situation where, yes, we've seen worse conditions, right? But we still can't let our guard down. That's the bottom line. This is the area of low pressure that impacted our weather, giving us the cooler temperatures, the thunderstorms, and the showers that we saw for parts of Northern California. That is moving out. Now, what I get my eyes on are these two areas of low pressure right here. This is the cooler and unsettled weather pattern right up here that's going to be migrating southward here as we approach the weekend and go into next week. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast. We're going to walk you through all of that. Here's today at noon. Looks like we're seeing more clearing along the coast, but some of those low clouds, you can still kind of see through them. They're just kind of those low clouds kind of hanging around a little bit. That'll probably be around Eureka southward. Otherwise, I expect mainly sunny skies by midday. Now, going through the afternoon into the evening, those clouds will probably return in the way of some low clouds, maybe a little bit of fog out there as well. And then overnight into tomorrow morning, you can see it makes its way down Highway 101, around Humboldt Bay, around Eureka, right? And then up northward, though, you're starting off with mainly sunny skies. And then Friday afternoon, yeah, beautiful. We got sunny skies here for the coast. By the way, sunny skies elsewhere, right? I mean, that's pretty much goes without saying. But then we go into Saturday, we're starting to see that marine layer begin to move back in, and eventually we'll see some of those showers begin to enter the picture here by the time we get into your Sunday. All right, so let's take a look at the long range now. So remember those areas of low pressure that are now up toward northwest Gulf of Alaska, Aleutian Islands. That will be the first one will be migrating down on Sunday. Now, Sunday, it's going to be approaching through the day on Sunday. So most of the day on Sunday at this point looks fairly dry. By Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, we may start to see some of the showers. And by the way, the winds are picking up with this area of low pressure kicking in as well. Now it shifts to the east as it moves through Sunday night into Monday. That's, I think, the best chance for rain for everyone. Valley, mountains, inland, coast. That's Sunday night, Monday. By the time we get into Monday afternoon, we're on the back side of that. We got the rotation around that low that'll help to bring in some showers, especially to the eastern mountains, Modoc County. As you start heading west of that, the chances are a bit slimmer on Monday, but I still have a chance for showers in there on Monday for most of Northern California. All right, that moves out. We're in the transition between the next system coming in. So Tuesday, I'm going to keep it dry. Then this one dives down to the south into Wednesday. It moves through. Notice it's not really bringing us a lot of rainfall, but as it moves through, we can't rule out a stray shower for all of Northern California. Then that will start to move out, and by Thursday, Friday, it starts to dry out again. And not to mention warm back up too. But as these systems move through, we're talking about significantly cooler weather as well, which we'll get into here in a second. The Climate Prediction Center is still showing us in the next 6 to 10 days in the wetter than normal category. So the thing is, the darker the green, the better the chances you have of that rainfall and above normal rainfall. So you can kind of see that up to the north and east. We're kind of within this category. So we're in the lower end of that. So bottom line, I still don't expect to see a ton of rainfall. So the winds that we're seeing today, those will be subsiding, especially by Friday into Saturday. That cooler air is moving out. It's warming up over the next few days. But remember, that first pocket of cooler air, that's diving down to the south. We'll really see the temperatures drop by Sunday into Monday. That's the temperatures that we're talking about. We already talked about the rain, right? So now that's shifting eastward. It's still cool on Monday. That's moving out. Another shot of some cooler air comes down from the north, and that's going to bring us even cooler temperatures going into Wednesday. That then dives down even more to the south into Southern California, and then scoots off to the east by the end of next week. We may start to see this high pressure begin to build back in, which would mean warmer temperatures. So really what we've got here, temperatures next few days going up. They're going back down, especially starting Sunday through at least the middle to latter part of next week. Then around Thursday, Friday of next week, they're going back up again. That's why I've got the roller coaster ride on the banner there. All right, here's your temperature outlook. And this looks like it's pretty frigid, right? And that's not going to be the case. What it's showing here is that your chances of seeing below normal temperatures for this time of the year, that's what it's looking like. So we're well within that, but especially down to Southern California. And of course, all the heat mainly off to our east. So let's take a look at that trend. Going up, going down, gradually working its way back up by the end of next week and into that weekend. And 70s, yes, 70s in the forecast for the valley. So you can see the wave height's not that high, but you don't have to really head too far out before you really do start seeing those higher wave heights. So no small craft advisory along the coast here, but as you start heading out to sea, yes, you've got that small craft advisory here for today and even into tomorrow. So here's a marine forecast for your Thursday. North winds at 10 to 15 knots. Waves from the northwest at 6 feet at about 9 seconds. No alerts, again, for the coast, but you don't have to head out too far. You do see those higher wave heights, and there's that small craft advisory there. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. So yeah, temperatures are increasing a little bit, but we can't complain still. Right around 80 for most of us along Highway 299, right around 80 on Highway 3. Southward into Douglas City, about 84 degrees. 72 for Mad River, 77 for Ruth, and High and Palm, about 75 degrees. There's that cooler and unsettled weather pattern for next week. We take a look to the north coast, and you can see about 68 degrees for Red Crest, 69 for Shelter Cove today. Garberville, a high of about 78 degrees, and Ferndale, 65 all the way down to Rio Dell, basically in the mid-60s. Let's take you up to the north, about 65 degrees for McKinleyville, 64 degrees in Arcata, 65 for Eureka, 80 in Hoopa, and Willow Creek, about 82 degrees. Up north, 71 degrees for Gas Key, 72 for Smith River, 86 for Orleans, 66 for Klamath, and 66 degrees in Orick. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, Highway 96 corridor, right around 80, give or take. Mid-70s along the I-5 corridor there. Cooler and unsettled as we take you through at least middle of next week. Scott Valley, 76 for Greenview and Fort Jones, 75 in Etna, and Callahan a high today of about 74 degrees. 69 degrees for McDowell, 72 degrees for Weed, flirting with that 80-degree mark out in Dunsmuir with a high of about 79 degrees. Modoc County neighborhood forecast, we've got temperatures right around the upper 60s for most of us. One of the cooler spots will be in Cedarville, about 65, 70 in Likely, and 67 degrees for Newell. Here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. So Bernie, I've got you dry all the way through Saturday. Chance for showers Sunday, Monday. There's that break on Tuesday. Then another chance for showers and much cooler by Wednesday. 81 for a high today in Paynes Creek. There you can see your Lake Almanor and, of course, your Lassen Park forecast. Chester, you'll be looking at that chance for showers and cooler weather for next week, not to mention also Lassen Park. Let's take you to the south. We can see Paradise about 81 degrees, 72 degrees for Mineral, 72 for Doyle, and Janesville, a high of about 66 degrees. Let's take you to your Valley neighborhood forecast. To the south here, you can see Gridley about 85, 86 for Oroville. You just kind of work your way northward, and those temperatures are just a little bit warmer. Look at the winds, though. They're coming in from the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. You can see those higher gusts, especially for the west side of the valley. 89 for the city of Shasta Lake as well as Redding. Yes, some of us could touch that 90-degree mark today, but for the most part, we're talking mid to upper 80s in the valley. So looking at your 7-day outlook for Redding, if we see 90, 91, don't be surprised, but for all intents and purposes, we're talking about 89 degrees today. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s for Friday and Saturday. There's that chance. And really, this is that cool and unsettled weather pattern with that mixture of sun, clouds, and a chance for showers from time to time. At this point, Tuesday is looking dry. And I'm going to tell you this right now. This is one of those forecasts where stay tuned. If you have outdoor plans, you need to stay tuned because the forecast models are disagreeing greatly on what we have here for next week. So there's a lot of fine details to iron out as we get closer to next week, but we'll be able to hopefully get a better handle on that as we get into the weekend and early next week. But that being said, you're going to check in probably even this evening or tomorrow morning and see changes to this 7-day forecast. Temperatures may be a little bit cooler, they may be a little bit warmer. Chances for showers may kind of shift from one day to another. It all depends on what we start seeing here as we start to see these storms begin to develop and kind of bring us those chances for showers in the forecast. That's going to do it for us for today. We do, of course, looks like we are going to be looking at those cooler temperatures. It's warming up a little bit as we take you into the afternoon. And, you know, we got around, about 85 degrees on average for the valley. I am anticipating to probably see those temperatures just a little bit warmer. Redding may get up to about 90. The coast, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see more sunshine. We're already seeing that this morning out in the Crescent City area. We'll take a look at some of the cameras as we head on out this morning. That's going to do it for us this morning. Thank you so much Got a quick question from Stephen Koch. Do you have any long-term projections about winter rainfall? I really haven't taken a deep dive look into that just yet, Stephen, but with that in the back of my mind, I'll take a look at that. It's looking promising though, especially as we're already starting to see this cooler and unsettled weather pattern. We typically don't see this type of pattern kick in until October, November. So it's nice to see a little taste of fall here early on in the season. So good question. And of course, I'll take a closer look at that a little bit later. Sue Bell Schaefer, thank you for checking in this morning. 41 degrees north of Weed, and she's got the freezing guy icon on there. Okay, I mean, if you're from Weed, I would think you could handle 41 degrees. But yeah, it's definitely getting cold. Cold in the higher elevations. We're in the upper 30s here. So there you go. All right, folks, you probably can hear that music in the background. That's that little push to say, hey, get out of here, Mike. It's time to get going. All right, so you have yourselves a great day. Be sure to check in at noon. You can also check in for the evening update at 6 p.m. And you can also check all of your data, everything you need from Neighborhood Forecast, the works on weathernorcal.com. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Let's take a look at some of the cameras before we head out, and we will see you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger starting at 7 a.m. It'll be the Friday edition. Have a great day.
Thank you.